So this is video 10 in the site lighting tutorial series. Not really originally planned to be part of the tutorial, but more of a bonus. Let's render the results. It always seems like I'm leaving the party a little too early when I don't show users how easy it is to render their work. These steps will give you really smashing presentations and will sell your projects. Not to mention the fact that the results allow you to really see your work and often notice behaviors of light that you would not normally have been aware of with numerics alone. So let's see what it takes to render this site. It's actually incredibly easy. First, let's place a simple ground plane using a planar object. Let's go to the Rooms and Objects toolkit and select the Planar Object command. Planar objects are two-dimensional, flat objects with no thickness. Let's give it a label, ground plane. Let's change the reflectance, 0.15 or 15%, and we'll use a polygon. That's the default response. Click OK. Zoom out just a tiny bit. Let's turn the ortho command on. Let's come down here just outside of our project boundaries so we can actually see some spill light. Let's turn ortho off. Just punch the F8 key there. Right click to close, and now we have a ground plane. Let's zoom in a little bit on the office tower. From the Rooms and Objects toolkit, we'll select the polygon object. Let's call this Tower Section 1. And let's make it 120 feet tall. We'll assume it's about 10 floors. Let's change the reflectance of the walls to 35%. And in this case, I'll move the dialog a little bit. Let's create the polygon from an existing drawing entity. What that means is we can actually extrude a line if it's a real polyline. Often that's really difficult from CAD created projects, but in this case it actually works quite nicely. So we'll accept the polygon, and there we have one building. Right click the mouse to start the command again. We could do the very same thing for the second polygon, although it would draw a line from here to here, which would be okay because it would be inside the first building. But I'm going to manually create the polygon just to illustrate the other part of the process. Let's change the height of this section to 80 feet. Notice AGI32 put a 2 in here, Tower Section 2, so auto numbering is in effect and it worked nicely there. Let's turn on Snap 2. We can easily just trace the boundary of our second tower section and right click to close. In isometric view, you can see our two building sections and the blue outline of our ground plane. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Let's just change the calculation mode to full radiosity method. Now we'll go over and select the Render tab, which is available because we're no longer in direct calculation mode. Here's our project. Click the Calculate button. We'll now watch the radiosity process. When the light absorbed reaches 99%, all light has been accounted for and we'll know the luminance of all surfaces. We can then back calculate for illuminance or foot candles. You'll see that happen in the calculation bar as it calculates the illuminance points. There's our rendering. The orbit command is enabled by default. We can actually orbit around our site. Let's enable the model overlay. From the lower toolbar, the little black button to the right of model overlay drops a menu where there's a settings command. You can't see it in the video. We'll turn model overlay on, but here we can actually choose what we want to see in model overlay. I want to change the text display to filled from outlined. I'm going to turn the luminaires off. I'm going to turn drawing on. I think we're good. Now we can actually see the CAD drawing superimposed on the rendering with all our calculation points. Let's walk in the main entrance. Choose the walk command. Push your mouse forward. We can actually go down to eye height. Type 5, hit enter on the keyboard. Now we can actually see the illuminance points as we actually drive through the lot. And we can observe the light pattern on the side of the building. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to plan view. Let's zoom in a little bit by rolling the mouse wheel. Now we can pan around easily. There's our low points. Alright, one more thing. Let's look in pseudocolor. Let's click the settings to the pseudocolor command. This is actually the display settings, which we'll find up here on the upper toolbar as well. Select illuminance, and let's give it a maximum. Anything greater than 3 foot candles I want to be red. I'm going to display a scale. Looks like I didn't quite get that 3 in there properly. There we go. This is really handy because now we don't actually have to have a calculation point to know how much light is incident on that surface. So we can tell by the scale exactly how much light we have at any one point. Let's look in isometric. Let's look at the building. Zoom in. We can get a pretty good idea of how much light's on the building by just referencing the scale. Over here, somewhere around 1 foot candle. And so that's a taste of rendering. You could easily add a view, or several, to your page builder report by copying pages and adding image ports to reference each view. You could record a simple walkthrough using the AGI32 tools, or you can just use one of the free or inexpensive video capture programs like Jing. Google that, where they also give you free cloud space to post your work to share with your clients. Enjoy!